Hey everybody. As you're all becoming aware, as Elon Musk is being frantically demonized by every member of the United States government that is afraid of the dirt he is finding while sweeping under the carpet with his DOGE team of data wizards, I feel it is not only the right time for me to put my feet in the waters of social media a little deeper, but in fact the perfect time to show the world exactly how deep that water can go. It seems to me that the real injustice of our world is very close to being revealed. The veil is being lifted, and the truth is closer than ever to being totally realized. A truth that many of us already know and have understood. And all we could do was tolerate the pressure of society while being fully aware of the social engineering of our world. I'm referring to the ghastly truth of influential control of information to generate division upon division. So much division that even light is separated into a political rainbow. And everyone has been spoon-fed the information in truckloads, overwhelmed into interpersonal stagnation and isolation. I have been saying this for years, that I would rather be able to wake up on my own than to be woke, because the implication of the word alone implies that someone is doing it for you. I am in no way, shape, or form trying to write a narrative for anyone to follow, but I do in fact wholeheartedly choose to undo all the narratives that have been designed to keep the individual confused and guessing at what is actually going on. The truth is something that each of us must discover without being influenced. Information has become the modern weapon for control because they fear losing the control that has already been established, and fear for the extreme ideals that stem from discovery of oppression. I would like to indulge a different approach. I am sharing with everyone a means of thinking for themselves. To share my perspective, hoping that it resonates with many of you on your own quest for personal truth. I'm dedicating this channel to the support of ideas that I have accumulated over a lifetime, because I have reached a viewpoint on my own journey that allows me to feel lighthearted about the systems that have sought to control my way of thinking like some kind of narcissistic abuser, yet have worked me into a headspace that I can handle pretty much anything. And it is not just a single generation that has been persuaded into believing everything we have been informed. It is the desire to control our belief systems that has gone back since the dawn of history as we know it, and how each era has been predicated upon to limit human potential. It's far too much information for one video, and I hope that as I begin these projects, more information will come to light that will assist us all on a level of true awareness. I want to disclaim that I don't feel as if anyone should be locked into a demographic that they're not comfortable with being associated with, and nothing that I have to say is directed towards any group, but rather an unraveling of the demographics. And that is not just done to make anyone feel threatened, but instead to prove that behind each demographic there is an inspiring unity where truth is compelled to be understood. My argument has and always will be against everything, against nothing, against entropy, and for one absolute beautiful acceptance, found only in individuals, as if it were always meant to be allocated for each observer. In this video, I think it is easier to start with the science, because through scientific analysis, we can usually find common ground, or at the very least, collective data provides resolution, as we are all taught basics in science. The Heisenberg uncertainty principle, discovered in 1927 by German physicist Werner Heisenberg, offers a perspective when discussing particle physics that states that the more precisely you know the position of a particle, the less precisely you know the momentum, vice versa. That what we analyze becomes harder to measure. This is essentially present during the double slit experiment, as the implication that no matter what you observe, your observations can never be completely certain, yet still causes interference patterns. It is in itself a slice of wisdom, knowing that you cannot fully know, but in a state of unknowing, you cause interference. Ignorance truly is bliss. The observer effect found in the double slit experiment, it becomes clear that through our perspective observations, we can influence the trajectory of electrons, our lack of observations will render the particles back to wave formation. This level of thinking is an allowance of self to be both the unknowing controller and the unwitting observer. A Schrodinger's cat of observation. Schrodinger's cat is both alive and dead within the box so long as it remains in the box. How is this possible? For many years, there was never an answer that could govern this idea. The only clue that any enlightened mind could have is that there was no possible clue to be had, that everything could be understood would be subjective to the influence of any new observations, and so therefore entirely uncertain. But in 1964, Higgs and Englert proposed an idea of a converging field that generated matter for the observation of anything, a possible God particle that could re-engineer itself to explain how a particle could form a wave formation of electrons, that all matter was intrinsically creating itself from a unified field. This was a fascinating idea, but it couldn't be proven, which is why they used to call quantum physics quantum theory. But in 2012, CERN proved the concept of the Higgs boson, actually measuring the decay of a wave particle upon collision into the electron, breaking the particle apart to observe self-reconstruction. This changed everything. Reality was suddenly proven to be an act of faith, in timely cohesion with the end of the Mayan calendar, an ironic, admissible statement to the proverbial end of time. We know that E equals mc squared. That's energy exponentially faster than light being equal to matter. But many people are failing to allow themselves to realize that the energy is simulating the matter at a rate that is faster than light can observe. But with the understanding of the Higgs boson, it is such that all that exists in this very moment, like right now, everything is existing only right now. It's deconstructing and reconstructing right now. For each and every one of us, it's simulated matter. And it happens perpetually beyond our ability to observe it. This is not just a simulation, this is a function of reality. It is a scientific fact, and it should be considered by each of us what that implies. If the observer is the unknowing influence of its own reality, and also the recipient of the reality they are observing, then each and every one of us has the capacity to trust and expect a comfortable, uncertain bias within our perspective observations. But this information is fairly new, nearly a decade since it has been proven, and yet, over the last decade, the perception of everyone is being strung along into algorithms and systems designed to limit and divide our attention, to take away from our focus and diminish our potential to navigate our own subconscious, extorting you, essentially causing a global mental health crisis by diverting us from the truth. The perceptions of wealth that can be generated from mental health services by 2030 are over 500 billion. Rather than educate people to the truth of their own personal agency, there is a patterned systemic control and a rapid decline in education. And that is the flood. Not a biblical or apocalyptical flood that wipes out civilization, but to flood the individual minds and diminish their potential for personal agency. This world needs a label for demographic content. Cancel culture attacks on the free will and the censorship to keep us, the common man, from reaching our own potential for self-programming. Why? The answer is simple. If everyone is special, well, nobody is. If everyone could control their own reality, we would no longer rely on authority to govern ourselves. Now, I am not saying we should do away with our government. That's crazy. But we should definitely bring it back to serving the people instead of using the people to serve itself. And I support cutting away anything that suppresses personal agency. We still need laws, rules that we can all agree on, but we do not need anyone trying to enforce demographics and pigeonholing us into criminality. If my car is uninsured, does it really matter if I'm not driving it until spring? Should my license be taken away? The abuse of authority needs to stop. Stop it. Seriously. The level of forced regulations are just a means of perpetuating income for jobs that were created because of new enforced regulations. It's become a cycle of oppression, and everyone feels it. You cannot live passively without being offensive, even if you are causing zero harm in the pursuit of peace. So, when you start to analyze the data being presented, remember to ask yourself, what ideas exist to divide your mind? Because divided, you are conquered. The rise of mental health finances and projections throughout the years is becoming astounding because the individual observers are programmed to be reliant on information from others and seldom question their own slavery in their quest to be kings. And a slave only ever dreams of being a king. Thank you. If you feel that this was cohesive to your understanding, like and subscribe to my channel and I'll produce more content. Thank you for your time, and remember to think for yourself today. Just try it. You might like it.